Hi everyone, my name is Paige and you are watching Elevate Filipino TV. It's the place where you want to be to discover possibilities, unlock your potential, and finally create a life and a business that you love. Joining me today are the ladies behind Let's Get Hella Rich. Welcome Allison and Nadia.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Hi, thank you, Paige. We're happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm so excited because I was just preparing for this interview and we've got so many amazing things to talk about, which, let's be frank, a lot of the times people don't really want to talk about it, right? So today we will have a juicy conversation about money, pricing, and sales. All right, so let's dive in. So to be frank with you, you and I have all encountered Filipinos, and maybe even for ourselves when we were just getting started, that we have certain blocks around these things, money, pricing, and sales, and even misinformation. So I really want to dive into that and talk about how we can help and really elevate our audience here. So you ladies are rock stars. You have helped, many entrepreneurs scale their business beyond the six figures. Now, I'm curious to find out, what are some of the common mistakes that you have seen your clients have been doing in the past, and where do these decisions or misinformation stem from?
So I'd like to speak. So a lot of what I do with leadership and negotiation coaching, especially for business owners and even folks who are in 9-to-5 jobs, right, is mindset work. So a lot of the things that hold, say, Pinays, Filipinos back, especially children of immigrants, like Allison and I are both children of immigrants, is
Same here.
kind of, yeah, exactly. So inherited from our family who don't have the type of businesses that we do, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't have the type of work that we do online and virtual, and quite frankly aren't sometimes making the same money that our parents made, right? We have a lot of imposter syndrome that comes up because of that, because we are the first of our kind, to do these types of roles and jobs. And no one really taught us what market value is. No one really taught us how to network with influential people that can teach us the skills of selling and the skills of negotiation. So oftentimes we just think we have all these, what I call self-sabotaging thoughts that come up, like people pleasing, or we victimize ourselves, or we think, when I say victimize, we think, oh, the system's kind of out to get me. It's rigged. There's nothing I can do, so I shouldn't even try to rise above whatever money blocks we have. So that's just a start. And what I find is it's helpful to call it and name it out, and then call in what could be helpful, like our values or our mission or the clients that we really, really care about or the people we want to serve. So if you have anything else to add, Allison.
Yeah, I mean, on my side, because I'm on the more like marketing and business growth side of it. So like Nadia is like really good at the mindset part, and I'm helping out with strategy. And what I've noticed a lot of entrepreneurs to face, and even myself as a Filipino American, is I was operating from a scarcity mindset. And what that translated to in my business was, trying to appeal to everyone. And it was kind of like what Nadia was saying, how we like to please other people a lot of the times, and we don't like to say no to people. So when it comes to, the first step in growing your business is,
we are in quarantine.
It's okay.
We want to figure out who our ideal customer is. And a lot of the times either we have issues or we struggle with identifying who they are, or just really like committing to who they are. So I'll give you an example. One of my clients is she's a fashion designer, and she has this program where she helps corporate women figure out their style and, help them to feel and look amazing every time they get dressed. So when I was talking to her, she thought that her avatar was, corporate women. And when we dug a little bit deeper, we realized it's not corporate women. It's women who technically have like a work uniform, whether that's suits or scrubs. And on the nights and weekends, they had no idea what to wear. They got overwhelmed, and then they just defaulted to wearing leggings. So even just that kind of clarity helped drive their whole, marketing message, their marketing strategy. And then they were able to convert more people and attract the right kind of women who were going to pay their high prices. So I think it's really getting that clarity to start and then seeing how that bleeds into everything that you do to promote your business.
I definitely see the correlation. Allison and Nadia are business partners. I forgot to mention that earlier, but they're business partners. And, like Nadia is the expert when it comes to mindset, and Allison really helps with the systems. And I can see how that intertwines with each other. So when you really think about it, you have to be in the right mindset or right perspective in order for you to be able to accept that, I cannot be for everyone. I cannot serve everyone. And therefore, you're able to apply the correct systems in place. Now, I just want to dive into a little bit of your answers. But for Nadia here, you mentioned that, we have these generational thoughts and I guess like limiting beliefs that has been passed on. And I love that you touched base on, especially if you're the first entrepreneur in your family, what your parents did in the past, it's not what you're doing, right? And so we get a lot of these imposter syndrome and whatnot. I know that a lot of the times what stops people from fully serving or fully diving into what they want to do is, disappointing their family members, or I don't know, like just feeling like a failure in the eyes of their families and their loved ones. What are usually, let me ask you, are you the first one in your family to be an entrepreneur?
So actually, no, which is really interesting, and I think has a lot to do with my initial resistance to being an entrepreneur. My mom owned a care home. She's a nurse. Surprise, surprise. in the Philippines. But she owned a couple care homes. My dad owned an auto repair shop. But it was really hard because she was kind of the, I'll just say that it caused a lot of tension in our family for my mother and father to be business owners. And I never wanted to be a business owner. I absolutely said, I will never do that. And yet going through the corporate world, realizing that, hey, there's just so much more out there. I don't want fixed income, which is, hey, no fixed income, right? That's kind of the beauty of entrepreneurship, but also the freedom that comes with that. And that was really hard for me to claim, because all I saw from that is they were living their American dream, but it was too hard for them, or we were always struggling. And things that, here, especially in California, the US, that my mother, for instance, taught me that I never realized she was teaching me. She always wanted to win the Mega Million lottery ticket, still does. And so my translation, things like that, like we don't realize that my whole life, I thought the only way I could get rich is if I won the lottery, period. Not if my business was lucrative enough, because my mom was still banking on the lottery over her business. And also it's a different type of business, the online world. They never had the type of marketing that Allison is so great and strategic at. And they never understood the power of the internet because it just wasn't the time. And so this is still a whole new beast. She doesn't fully get what I do, but she gets the coaching bit and supporting women of color that we strive to do. So just in terms of breaking out of that, I could be my own $1 million ticket, and moving towards that has opened up everything for me.
Yeah, for me, I mean, I'm the first entrepreneur in my business. So I'm the one who, like, my mom, she just retired in January. She was a nurse. My dad was in the Navy, and he served as a post office, or like a mailman, essentially. And they never changed jobs. Like, when I grew up, they were always at the same job, and they were just working towards retirement. So what I learned was, like, stability matters more than anything else in the world. And guess what's not stable? Running your own business. So I had no idea growing up that I was going to run my own business, especially like an online business. So this whole thing was very foreign to me, and especially just not seeing that many Filipinos, women of color running their own business and being successful and being very visible on stages, on podcasts, on, you know, YouTube series like this, like that was scary because I was just like, maybe this is only for a certain type of person and I'm clearly not that person. So that was like the biggest thing that I struggled with when I first started.
So how did your family react when you decided to jump into entrepreneurship? I'm curious.
Oh, so many things to say. I'll say my mom trusts me now.
Okay, good.
And she's fully supportive, and always she prays to the marketing angels for me, right? When she's just like, face the windows and pray to the marketing angels, which I'll take all the prayers I can get. So I appreciate that. But when I used to work before starting my own individual business where I do leadership and negotiation coaching for women of color in tech. I worked in tech. And I was doing sales, helping form sales processes in a team. And I left a 6-figure job. I'm sure Allison did too, right? So it was scary for her. She called me 30 minutes before I was about to quit and put in my notice with my boss and was like, Anak, don't do it. Don't do it, Anak. I just saw in the news that rent is at an all-time high in San Francisco. And, you know, I had to really tone my emotions down. It almost made me cry because all I could think was how guilty I was to leave such a stable, like you said, Allison, secure job. And here my mother is so worried for me. And all I could tell her was, that's not news. I've got plans. Don't worry. We're going to be fine. And it's just been really cool process because all I do is just tell her, I'm good. I give you no reason to worry. It's stressful, but I'm okay.
Yeah, I, again, have a different story.
Yeah, we're so different. We are opposites in many ways.
So I didn't tell my parents until like 4 months in when I had started my business. Mostly because I didn't want them to worry about me. And, you know, I had my own fears and they just did not need to know about it. They didn't need to absorb those kinds of fears and then just like project it back at me. So I had told them like 4 months later, and you know, now just like Nadia, they are very supportive. They'll ask me how I'm doing. They're like, are you busy? And I'm like, yeah, I'm busy. Always busy. Who's not busy? But it's funny because it's like, I think they stopped worrying about me after a while, especially because it's like, okay, she's not asking for money. You know,
Right.
It's like she's
I think that's it.
Obviously she's okay. So I think they finally understood what it is that I do. I mean, it took a couple of years to have them understand what it is I do, but it was just funny when I first started, I was like traveling around and I was living that, you know, location independent lifestyle. And they were just like, so you just like go to Colombia and then you bring your laptop and you're still making money. I don't like, they were like, how do you punch in and punch out? And I was like, we don't do that. We don't have time.
There is no punching in and punching out anymore. That's awesome.
No, definitely not. So it was like, it was just interesting because, you know, it was interesting to see how they were a little bit worried at first, and then now they've just come full circle into being supportive, and it's been quite the journey, I could say.
Yeah, that's wonderful to hear. So, you know, because you guys have helped, like I said, multiple entrepreneurs go beyond the 6 figures, it would be really amazing for our fellow Filipinos to be able to do the same. And, you know, I'm actually I call myself a silent lurker in many groups online because I like to find out the different opinions people have with regards to, you know, sales, pricing, and stuff like that. And my golly jeepers, people have so many opinions, right? And so, you know, they have so many different opinions with what to sell, who to sell, why to sell, and even when to sell. And so let's talk about that. What are your trade secrets on how to attract not just paying clients, but high paying clients who see your worth?
Yeah, so so I'm a copywriter, and before Nadia and I started a business, I was very much doing freelance copywriting and very like high end 4 or 5 figure projects. So I was not a cheap copywriter, and I knew that I had to really put myself out there beyond networking. Like networking is part of it, but like me putting myself out there and just being really visible and teaching my skills really helped me attract very high paying people where they're just like begging to work with me. So the first thing I did was I spoke on stages, but the one thing I really want to talk about that really just, pushed me over that edge that I had a lot of control over was I wrote a book. I wrote a book. It's called Shut Up and Take My Money. And it teaches the entire process that I run through with my clients. And there's a couple of things that's really awesome about that. One, it makes you an author. And that's immediately like this really valuable thing. It's not an ebook, like it's an actual physical book. It's like behind me here. So it's like, I'm an author. I wrote this. It's the ultimate piece of authority. Two, it was written for my ideal avatar. It's the people who want to sell, they want to make a high impact, and they don't want it to be sleazy or high pressure or any of that fake scarcity. And that's, where the title comes from, Shut Up and Take My Money. So that alone, like people will come to me and they'll be wanting to work with me and they'll say, hey, I read your book. I really love what you said about this. Like, how can we make this happen? Because they'll read it and they'll want to implement it, but they'll want my help with it. And I mean, that book alone has landed me so many like speaking gigs, 5-figure projects. And it's just really like, it helped me raise my rates, feel really confident about it, and having people thrilled to pay for it and not even blink an eye when I tell them how much it is to work with me.
Very interesting. And you know what? I actually am part of a marketing group, and my coach specifically said that book buyers are the best buyers because they're buyers for life, right? These people have the mindset of learning, and they basically, from start to finish of where they want to go, they look to you for support. And so I absolutely agree with you that having a book, being an author is one of the, it's the ultimate way to really present yourself as the person for the job, for, the person for that particular project. And so I'm curious, what about you, Nadia? How do you market yourself, as someone who deals often with mindset?
So I, market myself as a leadership and negotiation coach for women of color. And just right off the bat, when I decided to do that, it was just a testament to finding your niche and finding the people you truly want to serve and just singing that gospel all freaking day in as many venues as possible. So I do a lot of speaking gigs. A lot of my clientele is organic through just me doing speaking gigs, building partnerships with those people so they can always bring me back, building community. So there's a Pinaista community that was started in the Bay Area that has been amazing and fundamental to my growth because they always invite me back for speaking gigs. And I always get clients from that. And then I always do I'll always do repeats where I notice like, wow, that their audience, their market was a huge conversion for me. That's my partner, and just building that relationship and also giving back. So I'm very big on community-based networking and then also consistent social media. So what leveled up for me was when I finally invested in my first help, which I decided would be a contracted content strategist who I've been working with for over a year now. And that just changed everything because I couldn't do it alone. And that's something that I think a lot of entrepreneurs need to realize. You don't have to do it alone. And sometimes you have to invest. It's, people keep thinking I have to make the money to invest. I was very much, I'm going to invest in order to create money. And every time I get a lead through Instagram or LinkedIn purely from that, I know it's because of that consistency and that investment in help, because I can't post alone. I know myself and I get too much in my head, or at least I used to, but now I'll just be like, whatever, this is my face. This is me. I have no visibility problems. So a lot of that is, I know a lot of entrepreneurs we work with, they're scared of being that visible because they think no one's going to care about me, or I have nothing good to say. And I'm big on thought leadership and stepping into my own thought leadership and helping others do the same. And they think I don't want to be too spammy, which Allison and I have a lot of feelings around that. Because it's not spammy. Chances are all your potential clients out there are so inundated with so much information and other people. I look at it as you're doing them a service when you post more often because they can catch you. Yeah. Otherwise, you might get lost in the matrix and the algorithm rabbit holes. So we want to make sure that consistency is there. And then just claiming those clients. Anytime I get a lead and get on a consultation call and I truly feel it's a good fit, I'm just always looking for understanding. How do I help you? What do you need and how do I fit that need? And then just saying, hey, I think we're a fit and we should really do this.
I want to go back to something that Nadia said, because I think it's really important when we're talking about being consistent and, you know, oh, and it's like there's our customers, our audience is just flooded with information. And part of the reason why Nadia and I are partnering up and, you know, building this business together is because guess who's consistently posting, who's consistently emailing, who's consistently teaching and starting podcasts? Not Filipinos, not Asians, not women of color. And it's just, the market is so flooded with white men building this authority. And we were tired of it. We were like, it sucks because especially like for us as women of color, like when we were learning and when we still are, the only people to learn from were these white men or white women. And they just don't understand the same things that we go through. Like I've been in those 5-figure masterminds and I'm like the only woman of color in there. I'm probably the youngest. And it's this weird space. And it was hard for me to fully reap those benefits and learn from it because I felt like no one really understood me. So it didn't matter how brilliant they were and what they said. If someone was a woman of color and they like were just like me and they said the same exact thing, that's when it would hit. And that's why, you know, we're doing this because we want to offer those resources to women of color, other Pinays to, you know, get that learning from someone who really understands them.
Yeah, so, you know, both of you talked about consistency and visibility. And really, in order for you to be more visible is you need to really power through that consistency. And, you know, I spoke with Allison prior to our interview, and the reason really why I'm creating this platform is, you know, just like what you said, I realized, I was like, holy smokes, all the books that changed my life, all the courses that changed my life, they're all from white people, right? And not that it's bad, but then I started looking, okay, we have this image of what success looks like, and we have images of people, of who the successful people are, and none of them look like me, right? So what does that translate? Like, I start thinking, do I really have what it takes to be able to accomplish this, right? Can I really do this, right? But as I move through my own business too, I encounter so many different Filipinos, so many different people of color who are in this space. But the only problem was, you know, they're not very visible, right? And so I love that you touched on that topic because, you know, it's time to make that shift. And when you're consistent and when you really see the power of being visible in your marketing strategy, then you show other people that, hey, you know what, this is possible for you as well, right? And I absolutely love that. Okay, so now let's talk about, because I know that this topic is huge, and oftentimes, you know, people can get overwhelmed. You know, whatever questions I ask you, the best way for people to really apply these is if they have an actionable guide or if they end up working with you. So let's leave our audience with a step-by-step process. Would you mind, ladies, walking me through your process in Let's Get Hella Rich, and how can our audience apply this in their life, in their business?
You want to go?
Well, I mean, I think the mindset part is really important. So why don't we start with that and then we'll move to strategy.
So what we're really doing, and I'll just share the framework of how we work. So it's a membership. So we have set, other than the content, combining our superpowers, leadership and mindset, plus strategy and marketing together. We're combining all our resources for all our clients who join the membership, and we provide 2 calls a month. 2 calls that we think are very important. One is mindset. So I'll be leading that, and I'll let Allison speak to what she shares. But our goal here is for women of color and absolutely Pinays like us to be hella rich in not just money, but in time and in joy. Because that's what entrepreneurship can actually give you, can actually provide you. So in the mindset work, what I do is really take into account what are the top self-sabotaging thoughts that come. So I mentioned a few in the framework that I've built, which is the good girl, which a lot of Filipino women, especially children of immigrants, have that people pleaser, that perfectionist, that I don't want to rock the boat element. And really recognizing that there's the victim. I have one called the toxic femme that's just can't shake off that anger, which is not good when it comes to sales and negotiations. Even if there's resentment, we have to learn how to let that go and speak to our frustrations and anger more effectively. Not to say we can't be upset when things don't go our way during a sales call or a deal, or we have difficult clients, but we can come at it more effectively and learn how to communicate. And then, other mindsets there. And then I really speak to having a clear vision. So creating your North Star, that is the biggest, wildest dreams. For instance, mine is I will be my mama's lotto ticket one day. Just circling back to that. That's my North Star. And there's so much more to that. And I will help women of color close the wage gap in their businesses and make just as much as their white male counterparts. For instance, like that's part of the North Star and the mission and pulling that. And then really helping people step into their version of leadership. So that is aligning with your values, right? What is the point of starting a business if you don't create your own experience that you truly want? If you don't align with your values, because that's honestly what gets people so burnt out with work and careers and corporate in the first place, is that they're not aligned with their values, and that's not sustainable. So it's really about pushing through, because business is challenging. A lot of things aren't guaranteed, especially when you're just starting, but we can work towards that guarantee. If you have a fortified mindset, you will always be. And Panay, we are so resilient in the first place, but resilient while claiming wealth. So the last piece I'll say on that is just with mindset, I walk people through constantly their worthiness. So their ability to say, I am actually worthy of this, because that makes so many people cringe and say like, am I? Are you sure? No one's ever taught me that I'm worthy for this. So that's the first step to being able to raise your rates. That's the first step to be able to call in your clients. That's the first step to serve, is to believe I am capable, I am worthy of doing this. So how I do that is just through group coaching, and I'm a certified coach. So I'm able to just work through specific clients' problems. And even if it's one-on-one, the rest of the membership is able to still learn by witnessing others. So, and then if you want to talk to the strategy piece.
Yeah, so we kind of touched on this before, but the first step is identifying who your ideal avatar is. Like if you were to take one person that you loved working with or that you want to work with, and if you were to have like a line out the door with them around the block, and like who would that be? And what is it about them? And what are they trying to accomplish? What is the problem that they are trying to solve? So that's like the first part, is just identifying who that is and making sure it's a real person, so you could really fully understand who they are and see them and speak to them if you need to. So that's the first thing. And then you just want to, second thing is to create a very irresistible offer for that person that helps them accomplish what they want to accomplish, solve the problem that they're trying to solve. So like for us, our ideal avatar is a woman of color entrepreneur who is a couple of years into her business, and she's really at this like inflection point where she knows that she could be playing at a bigger level, and she feels kind of stuck, and she's not really putting herself out there like she can. But when she does that, she knows she's going to really flourish and thrive in her business. And, she's really fed up with all of the information out there that's telling her that she can do this, that she should just get out of her scarcity mindset, because they're all white men and women who don't understand who she is. And it's really easy for them to say like, just, get out of that scarcity mindset. So that was the avatar. And like when we talked about like what they're trying to accomplish, then it's like it's getting that it's hitting the next level of their business, not just in money but also time and joy, and it's having ongoing support around that, because Nadia and I, and you, Paige, probably have experienced this, but you'll take a course and then after that you're like, okay, now what? Like I really want to keep growing still. So I mean, that's part of why our irresistible offer is like this ongoing membership, so that they have that support after, like just ongoing as much as they can. And it's not just a self-study course where, you're going to watch some videos, do some worksheets. Like there's actual live group coaching calls where, if you're feeling stuck, if you don't know how to apply it and you just have some questions, or if you just want, someone like me to like review your copy, or if you want Nadia to work with you on one of your blocks, we have that available too. And there's a community to support you at the same time. So that's like our irresistible offer. And then after that, it's really just coming up with our messaging and what makes you unique. So, with us, it's pretty easy because it's like, okay, we have these two superpowers that's, combined into one. Masterminds and memberships are either really only strategy or their only mindset from our experience. So us combining those together is this really huge, unique selling proposition. And especially for women of color entrepreneurs, that's a really huge, unique selling proposition. Yeah. And it's the other day, Nadia sold our first member and we didn't even have our cart page up. It was so easy that was the ultimate shut up and take my money moment. It was like, I remember Nadia texted me, she's like, hey, can you set the cart page live? Someone's ready to pay. And I was like, wow, seriously already? We didn't even start promoting this thing. And that's what happens when we understand, what makes us unique, when we create that irresistible offer and we, know who our ideal avatar is. I could keep going on what that process looks like, but I think those are the first couple steps. And then of course, when you're marketing online and you're posting consistently, you want to collect those leads. And that comes down to your lead magnet, your freebie, your opt-in offer, whatever you want to call it. And that's something like my book where I could just drive people anytime, even if I'm not launching, even if I don't have a webinar going, I'm just consistently collecting leads from when I'm posting online, where I'm on a podcast, where I'm on, a series like this. And that just keeps those leads flowing every single day.
Yeah, and I'm so excited by that membership that you guys have, because I know Allison was sharing a little bit about it on email, and there is definitely a need for a community, of people of color to be able to help and support one another, because I have been an avid buyer and an avid subscriber to a lot of different groups out there, but none of them are run by people who look like us, right? I keep bringing it back there because, like I said, it comes down to the piece of, what does this tell me, right? Do I have what it takes? Is this really, meant for me as well? Are they speaking to my life, right? And so I love that you ladies are doing this. And also, combining mindset and systems together is just amazing, because you may have the right mindset, but if you don't have the right system in place, where is it going to go, right? Mm-hmm. Or you may have the right system, but chances are you're not going to implement that if you don't have the right mindset. So very, very powerful. And definitely, guys, if you want to check it out, we will link them down below. And I know that for our viewers, you guys also prepared a free gift for them to be able to have a taste of what it's like to work with you, or maybe even be part of the membership. So could you share with me a little bit about this challenge that you guys have prepared?
Yeah, so we have a 5-day challenge, and it's really going to be about us supporting you through implementing what we talked about today. So in the 5-day challenge, you're going to be working through your money mindset blocks that Nadia had talked about. You're going to be working through your North Star and your really big why. And then you're going to figure out how to, attract the people who are going to pay what you're worth. So that's going to come down to your, figuring out who your ideal avatar is, creating that offer, and, figuring out what that lead magnet is, so that you can attract a lot of those people. So the 5-day challenge is really just to support you through all of that, and you can get it all done in 5 days because we'll be there to support you. We'll give you all of the action steps and all of the worksheets. And it's just our way of helping you take action in leveling up your mindset and your business strategy.
Super, super exciting. So ladies, before we wrap up this conversation, I would like to ask each of you to share your parting message to our audience.
Let's get hella rich.
Let's get hella rich. Yeah.
Yeah, you're worthy of that. Whoever's listening, I guess I'll say, whoever's listening to this and thinking, couldn't possibly be me, but you do feel something inside of you stirring, set aside the voice that says, oh, not me, never me, couldn't be me, and just listen to any sort of energy that might be there, because that's more than likely oftentimes our intuition trying to finally get a shot over our logic. Right? So if logic is the only thing that is holding you back, it really, the work is about being able to connect with that intuition and following that entrepreneurial spirit that's probably trying to grow even further. Even if you're already an entrepreneur, it's like, I couldn't be me to get to that 6-figure mark. I'm always going to be a 5-figure coach, right? No, listen to whatever's stirring inside of you from this whole video and go for it. Just start pulling on that thread.
I love that. And I will add, you don't have to do this alone. And you don't need white people to help you. We've done it before. We get it. Like, we've all learned, like, it's how we got here, but you don't have to do it alone. And, you know, there's a community of women of color just like you who are going through the same things, or who've been through what you've been through before, here to support you and here to guide you along the journey. Because the reality is, entrepreneurship can be quite lonely and isolating at times. And we just need those people to lean on, and we need the right mentors who understand where we are and understand how to get to where we want to be.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. And, you know, just before I wrap this up, I just want to say, you know, we're not anti-white people, you know, obviously. We just want to say that we absolutely love, and I have mentors who are Caucasians, you know, and they've helped me a lot, and I'm sure they've helped you a lot. But the reason why we are so passionate about really telling, you know, reminding you that you don't need white people to help you, because there are people who look like you, you know, for our viewers, who look like you, who has the same background as you, who know same generational history and whatever parenting that was similar in our culture that has been passed on, who can relate to you. And we want to show you, it's really just that. We want to show you that it's possible. We want to share with you how we were able to do it so that you can do it too. So guys, you know, if this series, if you enjoy this segment, please share it with your friends and your loved ones, because chances are it's not only going to change your life, but it also will change their life. So please share this with your friends and your family, and, you know, definitely check out Let's Get Hella Rich. We'll link all of the important details down below so you can check them out. And I just want to thank Nadia and Allison for joining me today in this segment. And together we will rise, together we will shift the culture. And once again, my name is Paige, and these are my friends Allison and Nadia, and we'll catch you on the next episode.